Tonight on Blue Mondays, we take a deeper look into the stimulus package that was just passed and signed into law. And then we take a look into the upcoming U.S. Senate race where David Vitter will be fighting for his political life. All that and more tonight on Blue Mondays for Lune de Gras, February 23rd, 2009. Good evening and welcome to an all-new Blue Mondays. I am your host, Stephen Handwerk. Blue Mondays is where we take a look at state, local, and national news from a Democratic or progressive perspective. And we thank you for joining us. First up tonight, the stimulus package. President Obama was able to sign into law the stimulus package that Congress just passed and has marked this actually marked the president's first major win in his presidency, which, by the way, is only a month old. President Obama, as soon as he was sworn in, took to meeting with many Republicans as possible to try to put together a bipartisan compromise package that would garner wide support. Obama met with House Republicans and Senate Republicans in their caucuses, and he also held several meetings with their leadership in both houses. However, at least in the U.S. House, not one Republican voted for the stimulus package. And in the Senate, 3 Republicans joined with the president and the Democratic majority. Those senators were Susan Collins and Olympia Snowe, both of Maine, and Arlen Specter from Pennsylvania. Rachel Maddow, I don't know why I can't say that. Rachel Maddow, on her own self-titled show on MSNBC, took a look at the Republicans' opposition to the stimulus plan, quoting the second-ranking Republican, Eric Cantor of Virginia, that they are now the party of no. That's right, the party of no. Take a listen to this interview with Rachel did with Alexandra Pelosi and her new film currently showing on HBO called Right America Feeling Wronged. Take a look.
Someone who can maybe help me out here is Alexandra Pelosi, the award-winning filmmaker and liberal who keeps making big-hearted, funny documentary films about American conservatives. Her new documentary is about John McCain's supporters on the presidential campaign trail this year. It's called Right America Feeling Wronged. It debuts Monday on HBO. Here's a little clip.
John McCain should have won. He was the right man for this country, and people couldn't see it. And I don't know why.
What about you be on welfare? You be too lazy to work.
You stupid get that down.
What do all the McCain voters have in common?
We all hate the same things.
Does he support America?
He talks like he knows us. He doesn't know us.
Is there anything he can do to redeem himself in your eyes?
Drop out of the race.
Alexandra Pelosi, welcome to the show. It's nice to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Did the McCain-Palin campaign know what you were up to?
I don't think they no. I don't think that they wanted me there. I mean, are you saying was I welcome? No. Yeah. There were some very unchristian moments.
From the campaign specifically?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Which is funny because in 2000 I made this sort of like famously friendly film about George Bush. Yeah. And the people that were running the McCain campaign were Bush's goons from 2000. So I thought they would be welcoming since I was so well received in the Christian community, the conservative community after that movie came out.
Right.
But no, it was very, this is sort of the Shakespearean tragedy of the John McCain campaign of like, he sold his soul, but then he was never rewarded because he hired these people and they, you know that story.
Yeah, the way they're selling this whole thing, it never really works out. That's the whole. When you get to the end of the parable, it never. Anyway, you have made a career of sort of revealing Republicans in a sympathetic light for a presumably liberal audience. It's not just Journeys with George. It's The Trials of Ted Haggard, which is also out this year, which I thought was great. Do you feel like you are sort of doing the same thing in Right America here? Are you trying to connect people to these very emotional supporters of McCain?
I'm just trying to hold up a mirror because I feel like when you live where we live in this flaming blue state, you don't remember that there are 58 million people in this country, more than 58 million people that did not want Barack Obama to be their president. And we need to remember that because right now it feels like with everything you're talking about tonight, it feels like there are two different countries and we're not listening to each other. And then we get really upset when they oppose everything, Barack Obama tries to do, there's some people that are having a really hard time getting out of bed in the morning because Barack Obama is their president.
Right.
And they, we had the "Not My President" bumper stickers on our cars, and now they have "No Obama" bumper stickers on their cars. Like, we have such a hard time understanding that they are those people and they are out there. And I'm trying to get my liberal friends just to realize how different it is between New York and Los Angeles.
Well, at one point in the film, and we showed the clip there of the guy with the sign being attacked by the McCain supporter guy. At one point in the film, Sean Hannity tells a McCain-Palin crowd while he's talking to you, he points out that you're Nancy Pelosi's daughter. And you say kind of jokingly, "Don't tell him that, I'll get lynched." And people do get very emotional when you're interviewing them, and you're interviewing them very close up. Did you ever feel physically not okay?
Well, there's like a crowd mob mentality thing when you go to, remember, now like we have to qualify. Who goes to, who are the masses of diehard patriots that are going to stand in line for half a day to see the GOP ticket from like back of a stadium?
Thousands and thousands of people.
Thousands and thousands of people do.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying those are really enthusiastic people, right? And these are the people that we're talking to. So you can imagine what it's like for me to walk up and say, "Hi, I'm from New York, I'm from HBO, and my last name is Pelosi."
Yeah.
You can imagine the look on their face when they heard that. So
folks express worries to you that Obama being elected will be the end of Western civilization. Do you think that's just normal caught up in the election, I want my guy to win stuff, or is there something deeper going on with the anti-Obama feelings?
Well, I think that, we have to remember that we are two distinctly different countries. And we're trying to coexist, and it's really scary.
I don't think we are. I don't think we're totally.
You don't? You're such an optimist. That's so sweet. You think we're going to have world peace?
I believe that whole red state, blue state, United States. Like, I believe that. There's a reason we all get goosebumps when we hear that line in Obama's stump speech. It's not red states and blue states.
You're drinking the Obama Kool-Aid.
I'm not at all. I'm not at all. I believe in that whole One America thing. I totally believe it.
But I think that you need to take a road trip through the South with me.
I don't think that I'm naive.
I don't think you're naive. I wasn't saying you're naive. I'm just saying I feel like when I was standing in Oxford, Mississippi, and the people were saying, "We're just not ready. We're just not ready." I felt like I was capturing this artifact, this moment in time when you know something really big is about to happen, and there are those people, they're just holding on for dear life. Like, please don't change. I like the world the way it is. What's wrong with my life the way it is? And that's what I was trying to show, is like capturing this like a time capsule. And the people that had nothing in common with all those crowds that you saw at the Obama rallies that were saying, "Oh God, that is not my country, please, no."
Yeah. There's something in common, I believe it. But I love the film. Thank you, Alexandra. It's nice to see you.
Again, that documentary is called Right America Feeling Wronged, and it's currently playing on HBO, and Rachel Maddow can be seen weeknights on MSNBC. Newly elected GOP chairman Michael Steele has taken to the airways to give viral high fives to his fellow Republicans, and even went to attacking the Republicans who have broken with the party. Here's a clip of the Republican Governor Charlie Crist of Florida. Take a look.
This program will help us with education, with health care, Medicaid specifically, infrastructure. These are the kinds of things that produce jobs. It could mean $13 billion to the Sunshine State. It comes at a time when we need it. People need jobs. It's about jobs, jobs, jobs.
But then after seeing this clip, Chairman Steele went on this week with George Stephanopoulos, and he goes on to say that this bill isn't creating jobs, it's creating work. See if you can tell the difference.
He suggests that you and Republican Party leaders here in Washington are on the wrong side of the biggest issue, jobs.
Well, no, with all due respect to the governor, I understand where he's coming from. Having been a state official, I know what it means to get those dollars when you're in tight times. But you've got to look at the entire package. You've got to look at what's going to create sustainable jobs. What this administration is talking about is making work. It is creating work.
That's a job.
No, it's not a job. A job is something that a business owner creates. It's going to be long term. What he's creating
so a job doesn't count if it's a government job?
Let me finish. That is a contract. It ends at a certain point, George. You know that. These road projects that we're talking about have an end point. As a small business owner, I'm looking to grow my business, expand my business. I want to reach further. I want to be international. I want to be national. It's a whole different perspective on how you create a job versus how you create work. And either way, the bottom line is...
I guess I don't really understand that distinction.
The distinction is this. If you got a government contract that is a fixed period of time, it goes away. The work may go away. There's no guarantee that there's going to be more work when you're done that job.
We've seen millions and millions of jobs going away in the private sector just in the last year.
They come back though, George. That's the point. When they've gone away before and they come back. And the point is the small business owners take the risks. They're the ones that are out there in the morning putting that second mortgage on the house, taking the risks that are necessary so that they can employ your kids and my kids and future generations. That's sustainable long-term growth. Otherwise, then why do we need the small business community? Why don't we all just get a government job and call it a day?
So your plan would simply be more incentive to small businesses?
Pardon me?
Your plan would simply be more incentives to small businesses?
More incentives to small businesses, at the same time correcting those rules in the markets that have hindered and frustrated the banking process, that have lent itself to drying up the credit markets as we see them, dealing with the Fannie and Freddie crisis more respectfully and more proactively instead of sitting back and figuring out, oh, well, let them take care of it. That's how we got into this mess from the beginning.
I don't know about you, but this seems completely and utterly ridiculous to me. I don't see how he's making this distinction, or maybe this is a distinction without a difference. Perhaps we should take some gratitude in that he's actually acknowledging that we are in a mess right now. But his reasoning here seems terribly flawed. If the government commits to finish, let's say, I-49 rather, the expansion, and they contract with 3 different firms here in Louisiana to build that road, how is that not jobs? We know that it's going to take at least 2 years to complete this project, don't we? We know that for those 2 years, they're going to be able to employ hundreds of workers that will be needed for this expansion alone. The Republicans just don't seem to get it. U.S. Senator David Vitter took to leading the fight against this stimulus plan. He joined with a group called Americans for Prosperity. Always be nervous of groups called with names like that. I'm just forewarning you. Here's part of his speech that he gave at a rally somewhere in D.C., out on the street somewhere. Take a look.
Thanks to Americans for Prosperity for all this great work. Americans get it. They know the difference between just another long laundry list of Washington big government spending items and true job creation and economic stimulus.
But he doesn't stop there. He also appeared on Fox News. Take a look.
Will Republicans in the Senate join with moderate Democrats to sort of slow this train down a bit?
I hope so. I think there is an enormous amount of concern and questions about any package that looks anything like the House package. To a lot of people, including very moderate Republicans, that's just a long laundry list of typical Washington spending. It's not a job creation bill. I mean, things like $150 million for honeybee insurance, $400 million for prevention of sexually transmitted diseases, $70 million for supercomputing. That's not infrastructure. That's not job creation.
Okay, now wait a minute here. Those are not jobs? Who's going to build and maintain these supercomputers? And I find it particularly ironic that he's advocating against the prevention of sexually transmitted diseases. But he wasn't done yet. Take a look.
First of all, either it's going to be changed significantly or the vote will be very close. Democrats need 60 votes in the Senate. Unless this bill is overhauled in a major way, that will be very close, and they could well be a little short.
You just mentioned an interesting point, right, that the magic number here in the Senate is never 50, it's 60, right, because if you have 60 votes, then you don't have to worry about a filibuster.
Right.
Well,
all that's needed to pass anything now is a majority, which would be 50 votes. But the Republicans have taken to filibustering everything in the Senate. Now, you can quibble on what you want to call it or not. Is it a filibuster? Is it something else? The bottom line is they're demanding a cloture vote on every single bill that goes forward, which means you need 60 votes to vote for cloture, which means debate is done on this bill, let's vote. They're demanding that they need those 60 votes for every single one, which is technically a filibuster. It's slowing down the progress that should be made right now. President Bush was fond of saying elections have consequences, but these Republicans continue to be completely out of touch with America. Republicans have been fighting this stimulus package on the edges, it seems, too. They agree with 95% of the spending in these bills, at least if you ask them individually. Do you support increasing in infrastructure to be able to make our roads better, our bridges better, our electrical grid better? They agree with that. But it seems when pressed on the things that they don't like about it, they seem to nitpick around the edges, which only really accounts for less than anywhere from 2 to 5% of the actual spending in the bill. It seems to be quite ironic, or actually troubling, that when they agree with 95% of this, that they're going to actually fight it on the edges, and it seems to work for party gain or party over the people. That seems really bad. Anyhow, that's what's causing them to not vote for this bill. Rachel Maddow, again, tries to tackle this topic on her show last week. Take a look.
Once again today, 0 House Republicans voted in favor of the stimulus. A whopping 3 Republicans in the Senate voted for it. Who cares? It passed anyway, right? Well, here's a reason to care. As the bill wound its way through Congress, the Republican arguments against stimulus got less and less and less cogent, to the point where on the final day today, the GOP's last stand against the stimulus was a complaint that the bill funded transportation infrastructure. Trains, specifically. They complained that the government would pay people money to work on transportation infrastructure, which of course we would get to keep and use even after the jobs were done. In other words, pure, immediate, long-lasting economic stimulus. They're against that?
The Senate Majority Leader, as one of the conferees, put in $8 billion for a high-speed rail from Las Vegas to L.A. They might be riding a high rail out in Las Vegas. But in Michigan, we are getting railroaded, and that is why I voted no.
Points for alliteration, sort of? An amazing moment in nonsensical political opposition. Republicans are calling mass transit the closest thing there is to a universally accepted, economically stimulative good thing. They today called that waste, and they voted against it. Voting against transportation infrastructure in a stimulus bill is like turning up at an Emil Villa's Hickory Pit and ordering a salad. You don't get it. That's not what this is all about. That's not what this is for.
Finally, and I really wanted to include this, in another show of how much President Obama desires a bipartisan coalition to be able to move forward, Rachel asked Secretary Hood about the recent dropout of Senator Judd Gregg for consideration as the 3rd Republican to join the Obama administration.
That Senator Gregg went to the administration, went personally to several members of President Obama's team and asked if he could be appointed to the cabinet. And they acceded to his wishes and appointed him to the cabinet. And then all of a sudden to change his mind, I think, is very peculiar. And frankly, I don't understand it. I would have thought when you ask for a job and the president gives you a job that you're willing to roll up your sleeves and go to work. And I think it's a pretty odd set of circumstances, and I don't understand it.
And on a local level, not to be left out for this conversation, former Governor Buddy Roemer appeared on some internet show called Drive-By Politics. I don't know. This past week. Check out what he had to say about the stimulus plan.
A stimulation at time of recession makes sense, as long as the money is spent wisely and well during the recession. The bulk of this money is not spent for another 2 years, 3 years, in some cases 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 years. So this is a spending bill, not a stimulation bill.
Ha! Not a stimulus bill. This is a spending bill. Again, the claims that he's making are simply not factually correct. We just heard from the Secretary of Transportation that the money is going out at the door in less than 120 days on many of these projects, and will immediately go to boost the economy and stem the huge job losses that have been felt over this all over this country. This reminds me of the old saying, you're entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Oh, wait a second. We have a breaking story from President Obama. President Obama, take it away.
Well, then you get the argument, well, this is not a stimulus bill, this is a spending bill. What do you think a stimulus is? That's the whole point. No, seriously. That's the point.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. President. So the Republican opposition to this bill is quite curious. Equally so due to their newfound fiscal conservatism. That is actually quite funny to me, that they've suddenly refound out that they're fiscally conservative. Where was that fiscal conservative for the past 8 years when you've been spending like a bunch of drunken sailors? They've been going completely crazy, and especially in Iraq. There have been no checks and balances placed on Iraq whatsoever. None of them even dare question any of that money that's going, about the billions of dollars that has actually been lost over in Iraq. And literally, we're talking lost. This money has disappeared. It's evaporated. It is gone. And the Republicans, oh, no, we don't need to look into that. It seems unbelievable. Now, mind you, all of this investment that we're making over in Iraq, which is halfway across the globe, but when it comes to our very own country's ailments, they can't be bothered. Does that sound like America to you? Does that sound patriotic to you? David Vitter clearly seems to be putting his own political future above the well-being of Louisiana. And speaking of his re-election bid, it appears he now has competition for his own party's nomination. There's a storm brewing. Take a look.
And I love this story. Down in Louisiana, there's a porn star named Stormy Daniels. I think you know her.
Stormy?
Yeah, you know Stormy.
Yeah.
Oh, Stormy. Anyway, she announced before she commits to running for U.S. Senate against David Vitter. Remember him, the guy that got caught with the hooker? Fine collection of candidates. This is what she said. This is her quote. She said, I'm going on a statewide listening tour. And she said, and I'm quoting, this is her word. She said, I may be a slut and a whore, but I'm not a criminal. Let me tell you. This is why she will never win. See, in the Senate, you have to be all three.
That was on Jay Leno just last week. Rick Sanchez from CNN also interviewed Stormy Daniels. Take a look.
This is Louisiana Senator David Vitter. You're going to see him here with his wife, Wendy. He had been caught up at the time in the D.C. Madam prostitution scandal, and here he tries to own up to it.
I want to again offer my deep, sincere apologies to all those I have let down and disappointed with these actions from my past. I am completely responsible, and I'm so very, very sorry.
And now I'd like to introduce you to somebody who may be taking the senator on. She is considering the possibility. Some would say there's a whole lot of people who wanted to do just that. This is Stormy Daniels. She's joining us now. Stormy, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
You are referred to by some as an adult entertainer. Some of the news stories are saying you're a porn star. How would you describe yourself?
All of the above. Exotic dancer, porn star, adult film director, Wicked Pictures contract star. Whatever you want to call me is fine with me.
Have you been recruited to run against David Vitter?
I have. This is not something that I asked for. Apparently I'm being drafted.
By whom?
A group of politicians, a political group down in Louisiana.
Are they doing this to embarrass him?
Perhaps. I'm not really sure. These are people that I have not met. I was not affiliated with before this happened. But I don't see how I could possibly embarrass him more than he's already embarrassed himself.
You know, whether this is serious or not, it seems clear that by having Miss Daniels in the race, the constant questions that Senator Vitter is going to be getting about his past are definitely going to plague him. Vitter, in order for him to be reelected, is going to have to come clean with the voters of the state. And, well, sorry guys, but that's our show for this week. We hope it was informative to you. I want to remind you to tune in each Wednesday morning now. Wednesday mornings on KPEL. Yep, I've made a station change. I'm on KPEL every single Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's 105.1. And join me, Stephen Handwork, the Left Blogger, live on the radio each week to talk about current issues facing our country, our state, and our region. You can also check out my column weekly at thedailyadvertiser.com / I think I did that the right way, / political blogs. So you're able to find us a lot easier now. Where each week Warren Cottle and I on the right do our talking from each side, both the left and the right, so you can actually check out what the political hot topics of the week are. Our next show for Blue Mondays will be on March 9th, where we'll have our guest reporters from our field reports, from Jacob White Vincent Trombator, and Blake Corley. You won't want to miss that. I'm Stephen Hanwart. I am your host here each and every time on Blue Mondays. And for everyone here at Blue Mondays, thank you for watching, and please do tell a friend. We're here on the 2nd and on the 4th Mondays of each month on AOC Channel 15 or anytime at youtube.com/AOC Blue Mondays.